All right. Here we are, live on YouTube, once again for the Global Intelligence Briefing. Tonight, we're going to be joined by DJ. We're going to get him on just as quickly as possible. Hope everybody is doing well. All right. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to get DJ coming on, guys. Just so you know, YouTube, Instagram, they are heavily shadow banning us, okay? We actually got in touch with some people and we found out that they are intentionally not showing our video and not alerting people, okay, when we go live. They're intentionally not alerting people when our videos deploy, when new videos deploy, all right? It's up to you to kind of like track us and follow along if you want to watch some of our stuff. Sometimes they'll alert you, sometimes they won't. Look, I always thought that back in the day, you know, YouTube, they're going to help us grow. They're going to help us grow our channels, this and that. But apparently there's a lot of channels out there that they don't want to help grow, that they don't want to be out there, that they want to suppress because we're telling you guys the truth. So with that being said, there is ways you can help us. Give us a thumbs up. Okay. Give us a like, comment anytime that you get the chance. And I know like I won't always respond, but it helps us in the algorithm. If you can help boost us up in the algorithm, there's nothing YouTube can do. It like literally will be forced to show other people our videos in their feed. So that does help us out. Another way that you can help support us and help keep us on our mission is by joining the channel. And when you join the channel, we do fun giveaways. We do all kinds of cool stuff for our members. You get discounts on seminars, all that type of stuff. And it really does help support us because we pour our own money and time into this. So anytime you do that, anytime you give us a super chat, anytime you do a sticker or a question, support us monetarily, it's number one, highly appreciated for me because it helps support me and the channel. And it's obviously also just highly supported and highly, well, I won't say it like that. It's freaking appreciated, guys. I'll just leave it at that. So with that being said, guys, let's play a song here. Now, I got to be very careful what song I use because I've played even a couple of my own songs. Some of you may know that I spent back in my youth some time as a very amateur recording artist. So I tried to even play my own songs that I wrote and everything, and they even flagged those. So unfortunately, we've got to be very cautious and diligent with the music that we do play. I've been trying to figure out, because I don't want to just leave you in silence here, but I may in fact have to, it's really leaving me no choice. So what I'm going to do instead of playing a song, come to think about it, we're just going to go ahead and get DJ on here. And you're just going to listen to me talk until DJ is able to come on. So the first thing that, and bear with me, guys, because I'm actually trying to invite him to the meeting as I speak. The first thing that I'd like to talk about here is a little bit of biblical prophecy update. Some of you believe in prophecy, some of you don't. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really matter at all because Israel's going to do what Israel is going to do irregardless. And it looks right now like Israel is really thinking about building this third temple. Now, what the hell is this third temple? Why does it matter? Well, Israel's thinking about building this third temple because in the Bible, basically, it pretty much says that they have to build. There was a first temple, it got destroyed. There was a second temple, it got destroyed. They're waiting for, the Jewish people are waiting for the third temple to be rebuilt in order for their savior, Mashiach, to come, all right? Christians think that Jesus was the Mashiach or the Messiah. Jewish people don't believe that. They think the Messiah is yet to come. But the interesting thing about this is both Jews and Christians agree that this third temple has to be rebuilt in order for the Savior to either come or to come again. Now, the problem here is they want to build this temple on top of a place called the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the most holy places in Islam. This is where Muhammad ascended, the Prophet Muhammad ascended into heaven, okay, from one of the rocks there in Jerusalem, or Al-Quds. So it's a very big problem because in order to build their temple, Israel wants to knock down the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And you can imagine how upset that would make the Philistine or the Palestinian people. So we're tracking this very carefully. Now, it has been brought to our attention. Oh my gosh, we got a freaking crazy Viking on here. Oh, my brother in arms, sir. He's a freaking berserker over here.
Dude, I'm ready for anything.
Honestly, I think that's the whole GFS family at this point, man. We've been talking about this stuff for ages and ages. And you know the funny thing about this, it's all coming true. I mean, every last bit of it, man. From we were just talking about DJ Bible prophecy and stuff like that. And let me just finish up here with this prophecy update. So, part of the ritual of building this third temple is there has to be some things that Israel has in order to offer in order to consecrate this third temple. One of these things is a solid red heifer or female cow without blemish. All right. So there can't even be a single black hair on this heifer. It has to be a red heifer in perfect health without blemish that has never had a yoke on it. Right. So Israel just imported 5 perfect red heifers from Texas. They're in quarantine right now in Israel. And this would suggest that they have plans to start building this third temple relatively soon because they don't want the heifers to die. Otherwise, why would they import them? Another thing that they recently have done is start building a light rail system from the Ben Gurion airport, the main airport there in Tel Aviv, all the way to where the Temple Mount is, or all the way to where the Al-Aqsa Mosque currently is sitting. So they're anticipating for people to be able to come fly in and go directly to the third temple, all right? And I don't think some people have said, well, they're actually building it for people to go to the Wailing Wall, which is allegedly and supposedly the remnants of the second temple. I don't think so. I don't think so. I really do believe that they are making their final preparations for getting started with this third temple. And again, it's a problem, okay, because they want to, certain factions within Israel, mainly the Zionists, want to knock down the existing mosque that's there, which is, again, very holy place for the faith of Islam or Muslim people, and build their third temple on top of this. So you can imagine that that would spark great conflict in the Middle East. Every Middle Eastern country outside of Israel would probably attack it. Now, it talks about this in the Bible, all right? This is why we call it a prophecy update. Not only is it very sensitive geopolitical subject, but it does also play into biblical prophecy because it says in the Bible that all of the nations, basically all of Israel's neighbors will come and attack it before the end of times comes, and it causes a big war and bad things happen. And then after that, well, other crazy shit starts happening. So I'll leave it at that. That's our prophecy update. DJ, welcome on, bro. How are you?
Hey, I'm all right, brother. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I'm loud and clear, man. I'm doing good. We have a lot to talk about, tonight, man. It seems like every time we get you back on for our bi-weekly intelligence update, like there's even more and more shit going on. So
yeah, things are spicy as hell right now, man. It's pretty wild.
It's nutty, man. Have you been tracking this Nord Stream pipeline disaster at all?
I have a little bit, yeah.
Let's jump right into it, man. Why don't you give us what you got on the Nord Stream 2 and 1 and 2 actually, and then I'll try to fill in the gaps if you leave anything out.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, from everything I've gathered,
You good, man?
Sabotage is the primary suspicion right now as far as what's going on with the Nord Streams. In recent past, the Russians were able to sever a underwater communications antenna to a Norwegian, was it Norwegian or Danish island? Norwegian.
Yeah, I believe it was Danish, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a Scandinavian military force communications island and radar relay island and stuff. The Russians were able to, with undersea equipment and a submarine, sever those communication lines. That's what they're suspecting has happened again with the Nord Stream pipelines. But at the same time, it's strange because our current administration here in the U.S., the guy that's in the White House said back in February that they were going to do something with the Nord Stream pipeline if Russia had escalated in its military activity, which they have. So it's kind of hard to tell who's done what exactly, but we know that there are massive breaches with the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, and they're leaking lots of natural gas into the ocean. You can see, I mean, these lines are hundreds of feet underwater, and the fact that it's bubbling so much at the surface, those are major leaks, which also means that Europe, especially Germany and some of those countries, are going to be hurting even more now in their infrastructure with being able to provide power and heat and everything for their population. So,
well, we should project here that these pipelines were already shut off from Russia. They had already shut them down.
Yeah, correct.
But the thing is, they were still filled with test gas and, residual gases. Here's what I'm wondering. Like you say, DJ, in the future, maybe things calm down with Russia, whatever. Well, now we've got positive pressure going on, right? So we've got gas coming out when no water is coming in. But let's say that we were able to contain the gas that's the residual gas that's in there stops flowing. Yeah. Now we've got water coming in these pipelines, pretty much ruining them forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're and again, I know at least Nord Stream 1 was shut down. 2, I guess, was still finishing pumping because they're long ass pipelines, and whatever reserve was still being pumped into them, and everything. But yeah, no, I mean, those pipelines are going to have to be completely overhauled now. Now that this has happened. So it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And, my intuition would tell me that Russia might not have been behind this after all.
They may not have been. It may have been.
No.
It may have been us or somebody else,
It just seems to me like somebody wants World War III to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah. There's a lot of major players, a lot of governments, and a lot of major players with a lot of money and influence that are pushing several different agendas, between the intent of various governments and things like that. So it's extremely volatile right now. And I say it all the time. It's getting spicier and spicier by the day. And everything is extremely volatile right now. And it's very dangerous.
It is an interesting time to live in. And, may you live in interesting times. It sounds like, oh, okay, interesting times. That was actually an old Chinese, it was a Chinese way of pretty much damning somebody, right? And, I don't feel that way, but I feel certainly like the world we live in now is nothing like the world that we grew up in, DJ. You and I are the same.
No.
And forever gone is the times of whatever the freak it is that we knew. I mean, that's for sure, And
yeah, everything changed after 9/11, and everything was awesome for the most part before then, except for assault weapons bans in the 90s and shit like that. But I mean, terrorism was just a blip on the local evening news on a Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's something you heard about overseas. It didn't exist here.
Yeah. I mean, besides a couple of incidences like the original WTC bombing and the Atlanta Olympic bombing and like other ones like that, but it wasn't that often. You didn't hear about it all the time, even though there's still obviously things that were going bump in the night all the time, and a lot of special operations going on and everything, and various wars overseas, like in the Balkans and other places. But yeah, it was still very different just as far as the climate here and everything. But after 9/11 and the Patriot Act and everything, and it seems like they've reactivated Project Mockingbird and everything else, for all this MSM directed, propaganda games and misinformation and everything. There's a lot of that going on, and it is very, very, very different than when you and I were younger. Yeah.
Now, DJ, what is this Project Mockingbird? You should go.
So Project Mockingbird is an old was an old operation undertaken by the agency. And this was back in like the 60s, 70s, where they were basically using local newspapers and mainstream media and various news outlets around the country to utilize as propaganda and misinformation campaigns and stuff. It was a project that they did back then, and they had shut it down for a while. But it seems like with the Patriot Act and everything else, and whoever else is a player right now and everything, like it seems like they've started it up again because that's all we see now.
Yeah.
Apart from the regular coverage of everything involved with national security and everything else, whatever side of the coin that it is. So it's crazy. I don't recognize. It's hard to recognize this country for what it is in a lot of ways right now. It's sad to say, but it is. So
it is, and the weird and the messed up thing about it is it's still the freest nation on earth, and that's got to tell you something about how much freedom has been lost just around this globe.
Oh yeah,
sad. And at some point we'll be living in a complete technocracy, but anyways, I digress. Overnight, another leak has started on the Nord Stream pipeline. So that's a total of 4 leaks now. They are saying, the powers that be are saying that this was done by remote detonation. They've come out and said that that's the most likely way that this happened. Now, like you say, DJ, the Nord Stream 1 and 2 are about 300 feet under the ocean. So would it have been possible for, a couple of amphibious warfare soldiers or whatever to go down, plant some C4 or whatever you would use for underwater? Sure, it would be possible. It might even be likely, right? Because you could potentially like parachute in and.
Well, likely it was done with an undersea robot attached to a submersible craft or just a ship, a diving specialty ship or a salvage and recovery ship. That have specialized robots like that can go that deep, because undersea diving at those depths, I'm sure you're somewhat familiar with that. It's a very complex process, and just the process of acclimation for deep sea divers takes weeks.
I don't think 300 feet is that far to go down.
That's deep enough where deep sea diver protocols are in place. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whether it was with a submersible robot or a submarine or maybe because they were saying also, and this is, I think very telling, they didn't know when these charges or whatever they were placed.
Yep.
So they could have been there from day one. They could have been an insurance policy on the part of Russia. They could have been, so we don't know. But in any case, this has happened. And there's going to be more to come from this. We've only seen the very start of this, and it's concerning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something else interesting, and this kind of goes back to talking about, the good old days, before, pre 9/11 and things like that. But, and I had sent you a video just today about it, but, after some FOIA requests and some other things and some whistleblower activity recently, as in this week, you remember TWA Flight 800?
Yeah.
It was covered on the news pretty heavily as an aircraft disaster, as a commercial jetliner disaster. Information has come out and verified, and families of the victims are suing the United States Navy because they accidentally shot that plane down.
Wow.
Yep. It's been verified. Yep.
Wow.
So TWA Flight 800 was shot down by a surface-to-air missile, courtesy of the U.S. Navy. And whether it was a mistake or what, I haven't looked that much into that information. It's going to come out with the litigation and stuff, but there's multiple reports on it that have come out in the last couple of days, and it's been verified. So
that's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep. It's kind of like what happened with oh my God, why is a Malaysian airline flight over Ukraine back in 2014 when the separatists fired a Buk missile and shot it down, and they tried to cover it up. So,
The weird thing about that, I was in Denmark at Cirrus Academy bodyguard school when that happened. And
oh yeah,
I anyway, we won't go into that. Never mind. But it was, I'll tell you privately sometime, man. So, it seems to me like, and I don't want to say this because DJ, we try to keep it relevant to factual information that's going on here. And
Yep.
conjecture is conjecture. But my personal opinion is that the world is going to start getting crazy again here, man. It just is.
it is. It is. It's getting spicy. I mean, wherever you look at it in the globe right now, there's something going on. It's there's only a few isolated nations that really aren't involved in anything. And I mean, even the Solomon Islands has shit going on right now because of the China connection. So it's but it really almost anywhere you look right now, there's something going on. So it's
DJ, who benefits from a third world war? Why? I mean, why? Economically, is it to drag us out of a global?
part of it is economically, yeah. That's a big part of it because I mean the whole defense industry sector, aerospace sector, military industrial complex, and all that. I mean that's big money in wartime. I mean you saw how much the economy boomed after 9/11, and how it continued to really, besides the whole housing thing in 2008, which had nothing to do with that industry. It had to do with bad fucking trading policies and practices and everything on the stock market end. But it's big business. That's a lot of money that can go into a lot of hands when world wars kick off, apart from the ulterior motives and agendas of various governments and things like that. So and it isn't ever just one player. There's multiple players and multiple influencers at any given time. So I mean,
now, are these powers that be just crazy? They think that it won't turn thermonuclear at some point. This is a big risk we're taking here.
We are, and nuclear war is always the worst case scenario, like the worst case scenario. Because I mean, that's with how many nuclear powers there are, that, and with how much brow and chest beating that they're doing, saying that they'll hit the red button. That's you're looking at total global destruction, save for a couple of places, but nowhere would be unaffected from that, so that's a very dangerous game, and mutually assured destruction doesn't seem to be a deterrence in mindset for some governments anymore, as scary as that sounds, but it's true. Apart from that, it's just, there's a lot of countries that are struggling and want to assert their dominance. They want to have, they're greedy. There's a lot of factors that come to it, apart from, a couple of nations being, Iran and North Korea that just want to destroy everyone, apart from that, there's a lot of rationale and motivations for different governments to want to do certain things. So, I mean, China and Taiwan is a big example. They want Taiwan for many of its aspects of resources, information technology, computer chips, natural resources, apart from just having the land and having it claimed as a territory of China again. It across the board, all over the place, and the same kind of mentality with Russia and Ukraine right now and everything, and the Crimea and everything. Same kind of thing. It's happening all over the place. And then you've got the Daesh or ISIS that are trying to claim all this land in all these countries for a caliphate and everything. And there's many layers to the onion and a lot of different ways to look at it. So
no matter how you look at it, we have to be prepared for the worst. And, luckily we at Gutter Fighting Secrets can help you with that, guys. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Guys, if you want to join the channel, we're doing a lot of fun giveaways. Actually, we're going to be giving away a NBC rated and certified nuclear, biological, chemical warfare rated and certified gas mask over the next couple weeks to one of our members. All you have to do, if you want to become a site member or a channel member, there should be a little blue button underneath that says join. Click that. It's like $3 a month, guys. $3 a month. You can't get a damn cup of coffee for $3 a freaking, at a Starbucks or whatever. Not that I suggest
Coffee.
Starbucks. What exit you taking, buddy? No, like
Forget about it.
you really are gonna, yeah, you're really gonna help us. Me and DJ, you're gonna help the channel when you go ahead and subscribe. And we give back, guys. We give back not only in the forms of fun giveaways, like sometimes we just decide to give away $50 in cash. All right. And just to say thank you for our guys. We just finished giving away a really solid like gun belt that was quite expensive. We also gave away a really nice range bag. We've got other things down the pipe that we're going to open up our store. Go to fightingsecrets.com. We have a store. Okay. We sell NBC supplies. We sell nuclear warfare protection kits. We sell food, all of that stuff is on there. And we're going to open up our coffers and literally give products away to guys, just say, and girls, to say thank you. So if you don't already support the channel, monetarily, and you would like to do so, we're not asking you to do so, but we're not telling you to do so, but we are asking you humbly to help support us so we can continue to spread these important messages to people. So
Yep. Yeah, the giveaways have been on point. I think at some point we should do a giveaway of like a couple of bars of silver or something, a little
absolutely
little fiduciary investment for some of our GFS fam, that might be a good way to go too.
DJ, I really like where your head's at right there, man. So what I'm going to say is the two things that we're giving away next is going to be a fully functional NBC rated gas mask and an ounce of silver. All right. Just to anybody who says, I want to go ahead and support the channel and I'm hoping that I'll win the giveaway. I'm hoping that you'll win the giveaway too. So get on here and let's do it. All right. And then don't forget that gutterfightingsecrets.com is the channel or the website where you can also support us there, get World War II combatives online training courses, all of that stuff. But I'll shut up about the commercials right now. What else you got on your radar, bro? What's around the globe?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I just literally got a messenger message from my buddy, who I work for, per diem. He's a private investigator out of Florida, and I still work for him per diem, but he was right in the path of Hurricane Ian, and he just sent me a time-lapse video. But yeah, that happened. Big old hurricane. That was a big storm. That was a big hurricane. Not the biggest, but that was a big one. And in the county south of him, there's been like 100 deaths or something because of the 7-foot storm surge. So there's been some deaths. Some of the highest number of deaths in Florida on record in a long time from this storm, because people didn't prepare and they didn't evacuate. And not quite, obviously not as bad as Katrina, what I saw in Katrina, what happened in Katrina, but
now, DJ, did you deploy with a private security company for Katrina?
I was in the Army when Katrina happened, actually. So being in Fort Benning, we're pretty close to Louisiana and Florida. So we ended up going down there to provide some assistance. And I have buddies who I've worked with in recent years that were in contractor companies, security contractors at that time too, for like Olive Group and stuff. And yeah, it was pretty wild, man. But that was one of the most if not the most catastrophic hurricane ever. Sandy was close to that after that. And yeah, I know a lot of people up on the Upper East Coast felt Sandy's wrath. And but Ian is looking to be pretty bad too, because there's been a lot of deaths. And also with that Hurricane Fiona that hit Puerto Rico just recently, and then Ian just rolled through too. So they literally just got hit by 2 hurricanes almost consecutively. A lot of deaths there, a lot of destruction. I mean, last time I was in Puerto Rico was the hurricane like 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago now? Shit, almost 3, man. It's time flies. But that was a lot of devastation there. And then it ravaged Haiti and everything too. And so they're Puerto Rico's in a pretty bad spot right now, as well as Florida. And yeah, a lot of deaths, a lot of destruction going on there. Weather has been wild lately. So if you live in places where there are extreme storms like that or tornadoes and things like that, you really need to keep your head on a swivel, because storms are intensifying. It's just because of the natural ordo, KO, and cycle of the planet right now, apart from whatever other factors may contribute. And yeah, it's pretty gnarly right now. So people need to be prepared. People really need to be prepared and get their ducks in a row for when the next big storm is going to come to them. I also have a feeling that this winter is going to be a pretty gnarly one too. We're going to get a lot of snow. I don't know if we're going to have like crazy low temperatures. We might, but I just have a feeling that we're going to get a lot of snow in my area, which I'm okay with. But it's going to cause a lot of problems for people. So
your ancestors literally ran around in the snow with like freaking animal furs on, stabbing each other with spears. So
yeah, exactly. You know, wearing that armor and being doing what we do. So yeah.
Doing what us crazy Europeans do best, fucking war.
Yep. I mean,
this is one thing we want to talk about as well, DJ. I know you and I talk back and forth about this sometimes, man, is, how to create the right type of go bag for your personal situation. A lot of people I know think about a go bag as like a bunch of food and like a tent and all this shit that like, going to the woods and disappear. No, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about, like, for example, any insurance papers. Insurance companies will tell you straight up, don't expect us to have these things on record, right? Make sure that goes in some type of a go bag. I'm talking about prescription medication, passport, ID, it's the house, anything like this. And you want to research this ahead of time. Well, what do I really need to take with me here? Put that all into a bag. Yeah, sure. Put a couple of protein bars or whatever and some waters in there for sure, a flashlight. But you don't need to make it like a survival bag, but you do need to make a go bag for if you live in a fire zone, if you live, forest fires, if you live in a
hurricane zone, tornado area.
Yeah, exactly, guys. And, look, I've been a first responder. I was a first responder for 8+ years. I got firefighter of the year during the pandemic. All right, for actions that I was forced to take, and commendations on all of that. So I know my stuff when it comes to emergency preparedness. I'm FEMA certified, and ICS, I think it's like 400 or 500. So I've got a little bit of time and experience thinking about this, and I really want to make sure that everyone else out there kind of is on the same page. That yes, when we talk about survival bags, and maybe we'll do a video about this. If you guys want that, comment below and let us know. DJ and I can go into this in detail and kind of give you a different list of scenarios. Well, if you live here, this is the type of bag you want to pack. If you live over here, this is the type of, because it's nothing like what you might be thinking about. If that makes sense, DJ.
Yeah, no, totally. You don't need a full operational rucksack packed up. I mean, if you want that, that's cool. But yeah, you need to make sure you have all your vital documents, certain valuables, information, medication lists of high value items for insurance purposes, like make, model, serial number of your firearms that have to get left behind, all that stuff. That's all extremely important that you need to put in a waterproof, in a portfolio, in a waterproof bag, and have it in your go bag along with some cash. And then, make sure you got your credit cards and all that on you and everything, but have some cash. And things like that, a little bit of first aid with you, some changes of clothes, and stuff like that. It's absolutely the important stuff to have in an emergency go bag for natural disaster situations. Now, again, if you want to have a full operational like rucksack packed up to grab and go, you can do that. So you have a bunch of extra stuff, but you need to make sure you have all those priority items in your documents and stuff with you. You need to make sure you have all that with you. So there's a couple of different ways to go about it, but there's you covered it well there, dude. And talking about planning for certain kinds of natural disasters and things like that, hurricanes, tornadoes, forest fires, which are the big ones. On top of having your go bag, you need to understand how to escape and evade those kinds of situations. Dealing with a forest fire and escaping a forest fire is very different from getting away from a major storm that's going to produce tornadoes. So, I mean, it's, there's a lot of that factor as well. So, and it depends on where you are in the country too. So, there's a lot of that has to be considered too, as far as your cognizance of your region and how to maneuver. So,
well, like we always talk about on this channel, DJ harps on it on his too, which, by the way, guys, make sure you're following DJ's channel as well. It puts up great information. So there's two different things that we're talking about here. There's the aftermath or the immediate threat, the immediate action that we have to take, which is bug out bags and things like that. And then there's the pre-planning.
Yep.
Pre-planning is what always saves our ass. DJ knows this all too well from his bodyguard experience. Pre-planning is when you decide, hey, what are my routes in and out of my property or my house or my town? All right. Is there only one? Are there two routes? What if a big ass redwood tree falls across the road and not even a chainsaw can get rid of it, right? Then what do I do? Well, do I have to get out and like try to run on foot? You might, okay, unless you know a different route ahead of time. Now, if you've lived in that area all your life, great, you'll be familiar with it. But let me just tell you this, guys, as a professional first responder who was responding during some of these hurricanes and stuff, you don't know your area as well as you think you do. You just don't, because we don't know your area as well as we think we do. So be prepared ahead of time. It's all in the pre-planning. You know, DJ and I co-authored a book about travel safety. It's available on gutterfightingsecrets.com. It's on audiobook as well. But if you're anything like me, you don't like sitting there and read. You just like to like multitask and listen to it. It's perfect. But, you know, we talk about in that book, pre-planning is everything. If you're not planning ahead, but you're putting yourself in direct risk. So DJ, that's a great point, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Freaking nailed it, man. It's there's a lot that goes into it, but the more planning you have in place and the more logistics you have in place, the better off you're going to be. Mm-hmm. So, you know, make good with your networks and your community and your family and everything. And, you know the ways to get out of areas and everything, and you know where you can go that has ample resources that aren't going to be affected by what you're having to get away from. So it's, you know, there's a lot of factors to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And,
earthquakes, that's another big one too. Earthquakes,
absolutely. If California's got it all, man. They got earthquakes, they got a tsunami threat, they got not so much the hurricanes, the tornadoes, but they got the wildfires.
Yeah.
They got the people.
Yeah.
Threat of them all at this point. Democrats.
Yeah, right. You know, and civil unrest is another factor. You know, it's not a natural disaster, but it is a man-made disaster, and it's already happened once before in the last couple of years. So it's something else to plan for too. You know, it's not a total, you know, SHTF type situation, but it's still a situation where it's like, dude, I gotta get out of this city, you know, and you gotta enact your plans, you know, plan A, plan B, plan C. So, you know, something else you get a plan for, you know, stay strapped or get clapped.
Absolutely. You know, and we realize that not everyone is able to be strapped, right? I mean, some people, like, you did some shit when you were young, you spent a little time behind bars, that you're done for the rest of your life. You can never own a gun again. You know, we've known people that have gone through that, and getting your rights back is near impossible. So we recognize that. And whenever we come across a unique situation like that, you know, we want to make sure that people are prepared as well. Exactly. You know, knowing how to use a knife, knowing how to use a baton, or let's just say that you're smart and you say, I don't even want to carry any weapons on me in case I got to appear in court, you know? Well, knowing how to pick something up off the street, like a broom handle or whatever, and knowing exactly kind of where to strike and how to utilize it in the right patterns and the right timing, that's all very important. So we have that, okay? Gutterfightingsecrets.com, right? That's available on there. We've got offensive knife, we've got defensive knife against, you know, how to take a knife away from somebody the real way, okay? Not the stupid bullshit like fake ways, but real ways that have been done since the time of the Greeks and the Romans that have worked for centuries. That's all available on gutterfightingsecrets.com.
Yep.
DJ, what's going on with China right now, man? Anything? Are they
since we last talked, I mean, not too much besides their economic woes and everything. The reports of Xi Jinping being in house arrest, still hard to verify. There's still a lot of Kung flu related lockdowns and stuff going on in the country. Military is still mobilized, you know, chilling out on their ports and borders and things like that. Still some naval exercises going on here and there. They've done some missile testing, you know, with missile fires Other than that, not too much, but they're still beating their chest extremely hard right now, saying, having Taiwan and then Southeast Asia in their crosshairs. So continue monitoring and just gotta keep an eye on things and understand where their desperation is coming from. Again, economic woes with their mortgage crisis and everything, their housing stuff going on. They're having food economic woes. They've got droughts going on in certain places and natural disasters going on in other places, floods and things like that. Another thing to plan for. Just a lot of that stuff going on, but there's a lot of political infighting within their party, the CCP party right now, and it's pretty toxic on their end with that. So that seems like it's becoming more of an issue for them. So they're not really militarily prepared per se to enact on an operation right now to attack Taiwan or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that can't change in the flip of a switch and for them to give the green light on something like that in a week's time. So it's just something that needs to be constantly monitored apart from whatever else is going on in their country internally. So
You get the feeling at all that because you and I discussed back and forth during the last briefing about the rumor going around about Xi Jinping being possibly imprisoned, house imprisonment. Which turned out not to be true as far as we know right now. But
it seemed like a lot of speculation. It seemed like, and it's part of that political infighting, because again, if they've got a political dissenter within their party who's kind of at odds with Xi's, side of the party and things like that, they could say whatever to whatever news outlets, and that's going to spread like wildfire, just as much as something actually being leaked that is factually true. It's hard to verify that stuff. And I only saw one or two journalist outlets that were even talking about it. One of them was from India, and the other one was a completely independent journalist site. So it's hard to verify that. It's hard, but there is a lot of political infighting going on there right now. So there seems to be a shift in perspective within some of the people in charge.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to ask. Is there, in your opinion, a possibility that we might start to see some changing climate in China at some point with all COVID lockdowns and all of the shit going on there?
Yeah, I'm possibly, I mean, especially with their massive economic woes and their infrastructure woes and everything that are going on right now. I mean, people in the party are fed up. So there is a bit of a rift happening. And I don't know if anything's going to be like a coup or anything is going to happen, but there is a lot of tension within their party right now. And, the civilian population, the people are fed up too. There's protesting going on and everything. And it's not good, so it's, again, something that just needs to be watched regularly and in the broad spectrum. So they have a lot of things going on there. So
now, speaking of India, I did just hear that they are going to be selling Armenia a whole bunch of weapons.
Yeah, which is funny because India just brokered a contract with the US for a bunch of supply of weapons especially for their northern mountain units and stuff, like in the Kashmir and everything. They ordered a bunch of Sig Sauer and HEK and a couple other companies, like 308 rifles for the mountain warfare, because this makes sense. 308 rifle, it's going to reach out better. But yeah, no, India is supplying Armenia with is going to be supplying Armenia with a bunch of weapons now, and other technology. Now, remember, India and Israel worked together back in 2013 to launch successfully the first hypersonic missile. All the way back in 2013. So India has a small quantity of hypersonic missiles already. And Israel may as well. It doesn't seem like they've used any of them yet, but they successfully have hypersonic missiles already. So I don't think any of those are being sent to Armenia, but I know they're sending them a bunch. They're sending them some armored vehicles. I think they're sending them some aircraft, bunch of artillery and rifles and ammo and stuff. Yeah.
India is really playing all sides of the fence here. I mean, realizing geopolitically what this kind of means. I mean, India is not so friendly to the a Muslim religion, right? And Armenia is a Christian place backed by who? Backed by Russia. You know, India's been buying a lot of oil from Russia lately. India's not condemned Russia, so to speak.
Well, I mean, India has a pretty substantial Muslim population, and then some of their other neighboring territories, you know, Bangladesh and things like that, are very Muslim. They have a lot of Muslim neighbors. They're more at odds just because of cultural and political reasons against Pakistan and China.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
China for sure. They
yeah.
definitely, there's definitely been a lot of I don't know if you can call it hate crimes towards Muslim people within India. You know, the Sikhs and everything. It's kind of an unspoken thing. Well, not unspoken, but you know, it's an undercurrent, I should say. Right?
It is. Yeah, I'll concede that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, the cultural, the political, and border disputes with both China and Pakistan are pretty tense right now. There's been some very active fighting going on in the mountains in northern India and along those borders. So it's been
India
pretty.
China are not good friends, are they, DJ?
Say again.
India and China don't get along too well.
Oh no, they don't get along, and it's funny because Modi just met with Xi and a Russian delegate and all that. They just had a summit not that long ago, and it was pretty awkward and tense. They're not happy with each other. Well, China's mad because India's getting a lot more of the economic agreements and partnerships with the US now and other Western countries, and China's losing out, which of course is hurting China's pocket. That's a big thing. Apart from territorial dispute and then just the political thing. India is a socialist nation, but then China's a communist nation. India's more of a socialist democratic fusion kind of nation, whereas China is a communist. I wouldn't even call them capitalist hybrid, but just with their manufacturing economic agreements and everything that they have with the West. But there's a big difference there. You know, they don't see eye to eye at all. And then with Pakistan, you've got the heightened militancy within Pakistan has diminished a little bit with the new leadership but there's still cultural, political, and territorial dispute going on. So I mean, they're actively killing each other up in the mountains still. So, you know, and then of course with Sri Lanka collapsing, and then India having to take over and kind of try and figure things out, even though there's still a famine going on and stuff, mass food shortages, no fuel, you know, things like that. And then having Chinese warships try and roll up and land, you know, port in Sri Lanka has created a lot of tensions on top of it. So there's just everything's on a fine edge right there right now, you know. And I mean, India is the second most populous country in the world next to China. So you've got major stakes with both countries invested when it comes to economics and everything else across the board. So
what's going on in Ukraine right now, man? Are they still pushing?
Yep. The offensive is still moving forward, albeit not quite as fast as it was when the Kherson counteroffensive first kicked off, but it's still moving. It's still moving pretty hard. A lot of Ukrainian special operations elements behind Russian lines, stirring shit up. The populations are getting fed up. They're starting to fight back more. And then, of course, with Russia right now having called mandatory mobilization of 300,000 conscripted persons, most of whom are straight up refusing to go, you know, and then being forced on the buses to go do, you know, not even a week's worth of training and then sending them into separatist Ukrainian area. It's a big problem. A bunch of the Russians that were forced into activating and going there have already surrendered. And are giving information to the Ukrainians. And there's rioting going on in Russia right now. There's protests and rioting going on against this. You know, Russia has supposedly a military force of about 1.5 million. but yet they're activating 300,000 civilians, some of whom are in their 60s, back into service when they've got all these reserve forces that they could be using even under their special military operation, or now the now designated war on terror that they're
Yeah, right.
touting. It's a problem, that's they don't have it together. And the Belarus is in Russia's pocket. Anybody that flees from Russia to Belarus is going to be apprehended and turned right back around and sent back. There's some issues with Russian males trying to flee to like countries like Georgia and things like that, as well. And some are being arrested and turned around by like the FSB and stuff, while some are being able to leave and get through. Georgia technically still being an enclave of Russia, kind of, even though it's still its own country now. It's kind of strange, but I mean, there's Russians are everywhere there. So it's, and it's the same with Dagestan and everything. And that's another thing too, because you got like half of the Chechens are fighting on the Ukrainian side against Russia, and the other half are fighting with the Russians. Very strange dichotomy there too. But yeah. To digress, the offensive is still going on. Russia or Ukraine is kicking some serious ass right now. And the Russians are panicking, and that's why they're doing what they're doing right now. And they're having their own internal issues now because of their decisions that they're making. So the Russian forces overall are very demoralized, and it's not going well for them. And that's a huge win for NATO and Western nations in that regard. So
Well, it's certainly interesting to see, you would ask me a year ago if Russia could win a war against Ukraine, I would have probably said absolutely, they're more advanced. But I guess we saw when the gloves came off what really happened, huh? So it's interesting. It's interesting. Now, what else is on your radar right now, DJ?
I'll go back through the comments on the chat here in a little bit. So with Azerbaijan and Armenia, I sent you some footage. The Iranians, because there is a border shared there right at the edge, caught some footage. There's a bunch of fighting going on in Armenia and Azerbaijan again, so that war is kicking off again. So there's another war to watch. That's kicking off again. Let me see what else. Another big development right now is Iran. There is some mass riots and protesting going on in Iran right now, with the ultra conservative and ultra orthodox Sharia law and everything that's in place now, and they have their modesty police and all that going around. A woman was detained by their modesty police and sent to a location for quote unquote re-education, and she ended up being beaten to death in that facility. And so now the public are just going nuts, and there's mass rioting and protesting across all of Iran right now. Might be good for us, especially if they can get back to the ways before the Ayatollahs went into power in the revolutions in the 70s. If Iran went back to what it was before then, before the Ayatollahs, that would be a huge positive shift for Iran, from out of the fucking dark ages, basically, back to modernization, being much more westernized, as they used to be. So it's something to watch right now, because it is a very ongoing kinetic thing right now. It's very dangerous right now.
I mean, we see this quite often, though. I mean, there's something that pops off in Iran, and it fades, right? So hopefully we can actually see something come of this. It would be
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Very nice, warm, bright ray of sunlight in an otherwise cloudy week, right? So.
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, especially with how bad the relationship is between Iran and most of the rest of the world. That would be a huge move if some better educated people were in power there. So,
Absolutely. And that, that goes back to what we're talking about with Israel. Now, I know some of the guys are talking in the chat right now about, their views on things and whatnot. But this is the thing. This is the unfortunate part of talking about this stuff, is everyone's got their viewpoint on it, right? And we welcome all points of view here. We really do. But not to touch too much on the prophecy aspect, just geopolitically with Israel, I mean, I really do fear that at some point Iran may force their hand into some kind of kinetic action, right? And that would lead to big problems, because who supports the Palestinian people? Who supports Islamic Jihad? Who supports, all of these different groups within the Palestinians is Iran, financially, to a large degree. So,
lot of Shia money being thrown around.
Yeah. So it's, it would be very nice if we could see some internal changing of powers that be in Iran, because like you said, DJ, wasn't it at one point referred to as the Paris of the Middle East? I know Syria was called that as well, but it was a very cool place to be, very chic place, very Western place. You had women in bikinis running around at one point, and
they didn't have to wear hijabs or niqabs. They didn't have to do any of that, And then the 70s was the Iranian Revolution, and they went hardline Muslim conservative, Shia conservative, and the Ayatollahs took over, and it's been bad for them and the rest of the world ever since then, And just recently, because there were still a couple of like Western themed clubs and cafes and stuff that were operating in Tehran just up until a couple of days ago. They've been completely shut down and forcibly closed by the government.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep going harder and harder and harder with the the thing.
But all the rioting and protesting going on right now, they're just doubling down, and I mean they're murdering protesters and stuff right now. So it's the current government, the Republican Guard there and everything. So it's a very, very, very volatile situation. I mean, we're talking government forces are shooting people rioting and protesting in the streets, and Molotovs are being thrown back, and I mean stolen weapons are being fired at each other, and it's only a matter of time before a Syria type situation kicks off in Tehran, if it gets to that level. So we'll see how long. The youth in Iran really don't have anything to lose, and other people have said this too today and in the last couple of days. They really don't have anything to lose. So I think at this point they're just fed up and they want change, positive change. So
this goes not only for Iran, but kind of across the Middle East right now. I mean, we shouldn't leave Lebanon out of this. Lebanon has permanently closed its banks. You're not going to get your money out of the bank if you're Lebanese. And Lebanese people are really solid people, and it's sad to see what's going on there. I mean, you talk about financial collapse here in the States. No, guys, the dollar is stronger than it's ever been. Not that that's good for our economy, but places like Lebanon, they'll tell you about what it's like. They literally, you're never, period, ever going to be able to get your money out of the bank. They've closed indefinitely. So all around the Middle East right now, we're starting to see, and look, they weren't doing well economically before the pandemic, right? So you throw in all of this geopolitical instability and economic instability on top of that, we're going to just see and I hate to be cliche, but it's a big ass jug of gasoline, and all it needs is a match. And that big ass jug of gasoline is the whole freaking world right now, guys.
100%. We we as a country should limit our printing of money and currency right now, because we have overprinted currency in the last year and a half, 2 years. Something like 60% of all current currency we have was printed in the last 2 years. So we need to really scale that back. Otherwise, we're going to run into a Zimbabwe situation. If you know what happened in Zimbabwe.
Just DJ, what happened in Zimbabwe?
So basically, it's happened in Venezuela too. So basically, they just kept printing money, thinking that was going to solve their economic issues, and it pretty much turned into the money was worth nothing. Zimbabwe is printing $1 million bills that are worth $2. Like that's the rate it's gotten to. Venezuela has done the same. They keep printing money and printing money and printing money, and thinking that apart with some very poor decisions on the government's part are going to fix their economic woes, and they're not. Just like Germany after the First and Second World Wars, they were just burning their Deutschmarks to heat their homes because it was worthless. Mm-hmm. So we need to be very careful about how we're printing and utilizing the value of our currency here, because it can go south very quickly.
Well, let's touch on the economic situation within the United States right now, while we're at it. Right now, the U.S. markets are selling off once again. Wall Street is starting to really kind of be afraid that Fed Chairman Powell is going to bring us into a fairly hard recession here. The term you kept hearing was soft landing, which basically would imply that maybe we go into a mild recession, but the Fed is able to engineer interest rates and everything to the sense that we don't really feel as much pain, and they've gotten a lot more hawkish over the last months, and now they're going to raise 4.4 instead of the original 4 basis points that they wanted to, and it's looking more and more like 2023 is going to bring us a lot of economic pain. Now, when I say economic pain, I don't mean anything like 2008 when I think the S&P was down like 50% or some crazy shit like that. But it's not looking good, and not only in the U.S., but Germany came out today and said that they project a deep recession by mid 2023, and obviously what's going on in the U.K. right now is not good, and I'm not following it as closely as I probably should be, but they're really engineering their currency there as well. Actually, the current administration in the U.S., the current White House administration, called Liz Truss yesterday and asked her politely to not do what she wants to do with all of her tax cuts and everything, because it's not good for the economic welfare of the world. But they don't seem to really be listening. People in the UK are very upset. They feel that this is a help the rich type of thing, which actually is what they're trying to do, top-down economic policy type of deal. There's a lot going on. And the markets continue to sell off in the US. So all of you guys, your 401ks are fucking shite right now and all of that. So where does this go? Where does this leave us? Do we need to keep, start buying more silver, start buying more gold? Do we need to start stocking more food? Well, that's never a bad idea. Buy bullets, beans, and Band-Aids. But, at the same point, I don't think it's going to be anything like we saw in 2008. In fact, the banks do stress tests now, right? Every now and again, you'll hear all of the major banks do a simulation and make sure that if this or that or this happened, that they could handle it. They have enough money on hand to cover their margin and everything that they're giving out. So I don't think that it'll be like that, but it could. The only thing is, if we do get a black swan event, let's just say a tactical nuclear weapon is used in Ukraine by Russia, or China decides overnight, like you were saying, DJ, to take Taiwan, or something else unforeseen that happens, that could definitely cause a flush out of the market. But suffice to say, we are continuing to struggle economically. There will be a large amount, cutbacks in the job market. Now, this is the weird thing, is there's never been a recession before where we have so many jobs available. There's something like 2 jobs for every 1 individual in the United States right now. Usually when we see economic strife like this, you don't have jobs to have, right? And that's what makes it worse. But this is unlike anything that's ever happened before, and we're living through history. The pound sterling is on parity with the US dollar. That means 1 pound is equal to US dollar. The euro was, last time I checked, like 80 cents on the dollar.
82 cents to the dollar, yeah.
82 cents. Geez, it's insane. It's insane. We're living through history, man.
We are. It's very interesting right now. Yeah. And when it comes to the job stuff, part of the problem is there's not enough qualified people for a lot of jobs. That's part of the issue. The other part of the issue is there's so many people that still buy into the stuff and want to work from home and are just becoming introverts and everything. Any jobs that aren't work from home type jobs and things like that, or remote jobs, a lot of people are going for those jobs instead of the necessary and needed infrastructure jobs, manufacturing jobs, manual labor jobs, things like that. You know, people just don't want to fucking work hard to make a buck anymore. That's a big part of it. Apart from there's a lot of jobs that are looking for people that aren't qualified, that don't have the qualifications for them, which is a problem. So, you know, could I work my way through, you know, some kind of some kind of upper management gig? Probably, you know, just out of our like yours and I's experiences, and we know how things work, you know. But do we have all the fancy papers from a high-end university to show it? No. So that's, you know, it's an issue. Criteria has become more stringent in the labor world. So,
Well, just to touch on this real quick, DJ, and you know, just a message of inspiration for you guys out there. Now, DJ and I can't speak for you, certainly, DJ, but I know for me, I never went to college. Okay, I joined the Merchant Marine, and I decided I don't want to go to college. Probably the better decision I've ever made because I have no student debt. And we'll touch on student debt, what's going on with that,
yeah,
because there are developments, but.
I have an applied associate's degree, in an applied sciences associate's degree. So nothing crazy, just a 2-year, you know.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And you know, I wish there's a lot of times in the past where I wish I had a college degree, but now at this point, I'm working for myself and I'm doing okay. All right. I'm doing all right. I'm getting
You have
by.
a bachelor's in financial advising.
Don't get me in trouble here, man. I can never give financial advice, nor will I ever claim that I can. Just so we're clear, DJ. But I do have a doctorate in kicking ass, so that helps me out. No, but for real, guys, you know, don't feel like if you never went to college or you just, you know, you have a degree that you don't feel will work with something. Look, you can always create income a different way. We live in such a world right now where you can literally pull income out of the air by selling shit on Amazon, by doing an eBay business, by doing shit from the privacy of your own home, working the hours you want. Well, am I saying you're going to be able to buy a freaking Ferrari with it? No, but you're going to be able to generate either income or secondary income. So just be aware that, you know, it is the case. And I've experienced it. I know you've experienced it, DJ, where they want all of these qualifications and then all of this work history and all of this. Well, fuck them in the ass, honestly. If that's what they want, they can find some Chad who has it, but they're going to miss out on a really quality person, probably in our case, that would have made their company a lot of money or done a lot of good for their agency, perhaps. But you know what? It's okay because you don't need any of that. All you need is a go-get-em attitude and a little bit of discipline and dedication, and you're going to be just fine.
Absolutely. You know, and I don't know about a lot of you guys, but I don't want to buy those Italian trash cars anyway. So I would much rather have an old school muscle car than a fucking Ferrari. That's just me though.
Bro.
You know, like, dude, there's just some about a late 60s Camaro that's just
Absolutely, man. Yo, so it's, you know, it's the type of thing here. We're talking about all of these type of things, right? Global intelligence update. Let's not leave out the most important thing is the individual in all this. You and I and DJ and all of the GFS fam, you know, we're for the most part here, and I'm not even going to say for the most part, almost everybody on the GFS channel that, you know, has subscribed and watches our channel regularly, you're good people. You know, I've talked to many of you guys personally, privately. You're very good people. You want to do the right thing. You want to help your neighbors, your family, your community. Pasta rockets.
That's a good one.
And it's really impressive to see all of the very, you know, solid type of individuals that gravitate towards this channel. Because we are, you know, we are a Minuteman oriented, prepping oriented type of channel, which is the reason why YouTube censors us so heavily. You know, we've been around for many years now, and, you know, our channel just won't grow. And it doesn't matter how many videos I release per week. It doesn't matter what catchy, you know, catchphrase I put on the description or what kind of thumbnail I put on. The numbers don't change. And I know that, you know, we get more subscribers than YouTube wants to let us know. We get more you know, we would get more organic. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm not taking it as like a personal thing. I'm not connecting my personality towards the, with the channel in any way, but I am aware, highly aware that we're censored on here. So you guys can help us out by giving us a like. All right. Giving us a like, commenting on our stuff whenever you can. I might not be able to get back to you, but when you do that, it drives us up in the algorithm, and YouTube has no choice algorithmically to push our videos higher and higher. And I only say this, and guys, I don't monetize many of my videos. I'm not doing this for the money. I mean, it is supplemental income for me. So I do appreciate when you guys subscribe and everything. And usually all that goes back into the channel, or it goes to pay this fine man over here what he deserves for putting in his time as well. But when you do subscribe, it pushes us up so that this information can actually get out there. Because I don't want it just to be all of the GFS fam checking this out, hogging all this really awesome intelligence for themselves. I really want everybody to be able to be on the same page about this stuff. And especially when we have podcast guests come on here from, former intelligence people to currently serving, special forces or whatever it is. Not that we ever get any information that we're not supposed to have, but when we do get people coming on really wanting to give us solid, credible information, it's important to us that the right people get it, i.e. you guys. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I just watched the podcast with Christian Craighead, Obi-Wan Nairobi, the lone SAS operator in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
And that was good. He didn't talk about that too much. He's got a book coming out about that incident though. But that was great. That was his first podcast interview anywhere. And that was really cool. He's a fucking hero, man. And that was great. But yeah, no, that's the thing, there's we love sharing the craft. We love sharing our knowledge. We love learning, from everyone, in some way or another, where we know we have deficiencies and stuff, so that's why it is a GFS family. We help each other out, and we're there for people, and getting the appropriate knowledge and skills out to people, and kind of circling back real quick to the work stuff too, it's with my involvement with GFS, it's we haven't really done any blog stuff lately, but I was doing the blog posts for a while in that, but we've done the audiobooks. I narrated the travel safety audiobook, helped write that. We've done another manual after that, and we've we're doing a lot of stuff with that, and every little bit getting that spread out to people, apart from our friends and partners like Delta 2 Alpha and all that, it's huge. It's huge when that community grows and we're able to get that out to people. And then, just kind of like with work ethic and things, I work several jobs. They're all mostly like per diem kind of gigs, part-time, they come when they come, kind of thing. And then I supplement that as well with playing in bands and music, and like doing, I have so many projects going on at all times, I have to keep myself, really hyperactive in my head like that, but also just, you staying motivated to be able to work where you can and make money where you can and thrive where you can in your element. And at the same time, kind of having your own autonomy and responsibility for yourself. That's a huge win in my book for people. So, keep pushing for that for yourselves and for everyone else. And, we got to keep pushing to keep growing the GFS brand and getting, I don't like that term, but, it is a business still, and getting the supplies out to people, doing the giveaways, starting training courses, and everything in between. So it's a huge thing to be able to take those steps and make it work. And the more the family grows, the more it gets out there, the better it is for everyone. So
absolutely. And DJ, like you said, the more it grows, the more family we have, the better it is for everybody. I've been in situations overseas in the last decade where I reached out to one of our guys that we've been talking to and said, this is going on. I got to keep it vague, but I said, this is going on here. Can you reach out to your friend who's got a contact over here at this embassy and let me know what's going on? Boom, taken care of, problem solved. And, there's been a lot of different situations like that where somebody will reach out to DJ and I and say, this is going on with me. you guys still have that contact you did the podcast with, this and that. Oh, sure, let's hook you up. Boom, problem solved. So it's a network of really prepared, really fine, good people that simply want to help each other out. And the more that you get involved with us, the more that, we introduce ourselves to you, and you introduce yourself to us in the comments, and send us emails and things like that. Well, the better that we can help you, the more that you can one day potentially even help us. And it goes around, it comes around. It's a big circle, right? So, it's kind of like the background that you see behind me, right? It's a big circle. Inside of it is a map, right? And that map, the GFS community, is spread out all across this map. We have people literally in almost every country watching us, except the countries that don't allow people to watch us, right? So, and even then, sometimes it's really impressive to see, how much it's grown. And we get it. Like the information that, especially during the early days of GFS, when I was fresh out of, security contracting schools and various spooky type schools, I was giving out information that scared the shit out of certain probably powers that be, right? Because you usually have to go through like very selective process to get this information. And I was giving it out for free on YouTube, and they were like, no, this can't happen. So I get it. We did it to ourselves, but it doesn't matter, guys. We're going to continue to provide you with this information, whether it's, how to sweep a car for listening devices, or how to, understand if you potentially are under surveillance by a hostile actor, or how to freaking, throw elbows till the guy falls down and stops attacking your family. It doesn't matter. Or even how to, do one-man solo CQB type stuff. We want to travel around, and we want to bring all that information to you, not just from me, not just from DJ, although we both are experienced with this, but from other people who have done this and made their living from this as well. That's what our mission is, and our mission hasn't stopped, and nothing's going to stop us. They might even try to shut us down, DJ, which is why we really want to make sure that y'all go to gutterfightingsecrets.com. Just join it. It's free. There's no cost to you. We never sell your information, but should anything happen to any of the channels, they literally just, they turned off my Instagram channel about a month ago, citing the fact that I was spreading false information. So even though most of the stories I post are from Reuters, CNN, Fox News, these and it doesn't matter. They took any excuse they could. And, we used to reach about close to 500 people per story. Now it's consistently 30 people who see our story. So a little bit suspicious. We want to make sure that if something, Lord forbid, were to happen, that we can get in touch with you and let you know what our contingency plan is. So when you go and join the GFS family over at gutterfightingsecrets.com, that's simply a way that we can get in touch with you, send out a blast email and let you know, hey, this is our backup channel. Hey, we're doing this. All right. So it's very important that everyone on here subscribe. DJ, I don't want to get too much more into this, but because I do want to get back to the news, but any last minute thoughts on, kind of what we were just talking about?
I mean, you covered it well. I mean, if anybody plans on traveling, taking any trips or anything, let us know. We can do travel advisory, threat assessments for you. We can get a comprehensive little package together for you. It doesn't take that long. We can help with that. Huge community. We have friends all over the place. We can get people connected as need be, and vice versa. We're always looking to grow our networks and everything. It's a huge thing about what our experiences are in that industry and things like that. Is just as much as who as much as what and everything. So, keep making connections. Keep the communications up and everything. Go to the website. He's, like he said, it's free to sign up. I'm on there. You want to send me a message, make a comment or whatever, go do it. I'll respond to you. And we're happy to help out however we can and vice versa. So, that's what it's all about,
Yeah. Well said. Extremely well said, in fact. Yeah. So about the student loan thing now, Biden today was forced to draw back his student loan forgiveness program significantly. If I'm not mistaken, DJ, you might fill in the gaps here, but I believe the Republicans were suing him, citing that it was really bad for our economy and inflation. Have you read anything more into this? Because I just got a news blurb come across my screen before we started.
Well, and I mean, you look at it, a large percentage of those student loans are federal student loans. So if the federal government begins forgiving federal student loans, that means the government's out of more money and we're in even more national debt. apart from the government then doesn't have the funds it needs for operational continuance, you know? So from their end, looking at it from their end like that, that's a big problem for them. It's just not viable. Apart from just the fact that, hey, you know, having loans is just part of being a fucking adult in the most part. You know, I don't have any loans or anything. You know, a lot of us have become independent in that regard, but young adults, you know, getting out of college, I think that's just part of being an adult. You're gonna have to go through the same thing with a house mortgage, auto loans, you know, things like that. It's just one of those things you have to deal with in our society and in our economic structure and everything as a fucking adult. And then there needs to be accountability there. That's another big factor. That's a responsibility and accountability thing as much as it is, you know, doing forgiveness like that. That's not showing economic responsibility on part of the government or the people involved getting the loans or dishing them out, whether it's federal or otherwise. So it's just not good. It's just not good economically across the board. It's just in kind of a common sense application.
Yeah, no, absolutely well said. There's a lot of economic policies that make zero sense. I mean, and DJ and I go back and forth all the time about, you know, oil drilling and things like this, and don't get DJ started about his molten salt idea. But, you know, there's a lot that we could be doing that we're not. Instead, we're focused on, you know, electric vehicle, this and that, which actually are worse from the environment than just burning the damn fuel.
30% worse. 30% worse.
There's a lot that we're doing right now that stupid, and there's stupid people who are in charge, unfortunately. Not, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the other thing. Fuel prices have skyrocketed again. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
$5 a gallon out here right now, man.
Yep, it went from $3.20 a gallon here, and it's now up just at $4, if not just a little over $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. Part of that is because the BP refinery in Toledo, Ohio, burst into flames a couple of days ago. That's part of it. Oil refineries keep going up in flames, and there's some questionable reasons to why. That also plays into, and S2 Underground's covered this before, with a lot of the grocery food distribution warehouses going up in flames as well, losing a lot of product. That's a problem. That's also why food prices have gone up quite a bit. And then the prices of chicken and turkey is up astronomically right now because there was a bunch of preemptive kill off of poultry, of birds, because of a avian flu strain that was going around. So there are a lot of things that are happening right now that are raising a lot of eyebrows, bringing up a lot of questions, but also it is negatively impacting our economy right now. So,
I mean, again, we don't really want to touch too much on conspiracies, not because we don't enjoy them, not because they're not fun to talk about, but because we can't prove them, because they're not intelligence. They're not even information. All right. They're simply speculation. However, it would appear to any rational thinking man or woman that there is more going on here than can be seen before the naked eye.
Well, as far as the poultry products, I mean, that's been proven. That's the reason why the farmers were doing that, or being forced to do it by the FDA and some other entities. As far as some of the grocery distribution warehouses and some of the refinery explosions and fires lately, arson investigators and other investigators have not been able to find a source yet to certain issues. Some have been deemed electrical issues or some other catalyst that started a fire, you know, some kind of unattended heat source or whatever. Other ones, they haven't found an answer on them yet. So I guess I should clarify that for some of those aspects.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, man. You know, there's two sides of the coin here, right? Well, number one, even DT, you know, old King DT, I think you guys know who I'm talking about here. The last president was very clear about how our infrastructure is crumbling before our eyes. I mean, we haven't put much work into it. And don't get fooled by this infrastructure bill that was just passed. There's nothing really in it for infrastructure as far as
no, there's not. Yeah.
But it's true, our infrastructure is getting older and older, and we're not repairing it. Obviously, companies don't want their margins to increase. Companies don't want their spend money on shit that they don't have to at the moment until their fucking plant burns down, and then they're screwed. So that's what it is. But then on the other hand, you do have things like, what happened with the pipelines and other things happening. And, I find it funny, and I'm going to say this at the risk of, kind of deplatforming this video even more than it already will be, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Don't forget about before Biden got elected, how much we were hearing about Hunter Biden's dealings in the Ukraine with gas companies. Don't forget how deeply involved the Biden family is in Ukraine and was before the war ever even started, and China. Don't forget how much money that China has given Hunter Biden for his artwork. Okay. This is all being done, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Like I said earlier in the stream, in the talk, a lot of players and a lot of influence being thrown around, so.
And, honestly, guys, it usually comes back to the money. All right. It usually is not some nefarious plan by the New World Order and the Freemasons and the Illuminati. It's usually not that deep. Because I'm going to tell you this, and DJ knows this all too well, a freaking secret's a hard thing to keep. Yeah, you could do it, but it's harder than you might think. And the more people that get involved, the less it becomes a secret. So usually it really just goes down to the money. And if you follow the money, you'll usually get the answer.
Yeah. And even when it comes to like the government, at least our government, there's a lot of transparency there. Not nearly as much of the government is as quote unquote shadowy as people think it is outside of the intelligence, sector. There really isn't much secret to it. It's pretty cut and dry, and the government themselves, I mean, private sector, civilian information technology and things like that, they're years ahead of the government. So in large. So it's, there's really no secrets there in a lot of it. So
DJ, have you heard about, speaking of secrets, speaking about technology, you heard about the UFOs supposedly being seen over Ukraine in record numbers right now?
Yep. I've seen a little bit of quote unquote, footage of people getting video and things like that, because I'm all over the place looking up on Ukraine and everything. But it's not just Ukraine too. There's been kind of an increased activity and observations and sightings, so to speak, across the globe when it comes to that kind of thing. Some of it could be chalked down to being able to see satellites and things like that, and some of it cannot be explained. UAPs, UFOs, whatever you want to call them. Funny enough, right when the U.S. went into full lockdown when the started, I was working an overnight shift at a federal site as a contractor, and I was on my outside patrol, and it was dead. There was literally not even vehicles out. There was nobody out. I felt like I Am Legend. There was nobody out. But I look up, and I could see something, and I couldn't explain what it was, because I went and checked like the International Space Station's flight path, satellite flight paths, like things like that. It was too close for that, but it wasn't any of that. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I tried to get some video of it. And then I actually filed a report with a reporting entity for that kind of thing. I couldn't explain it, and it was weird. Weird. That was the first time I've ever seen anything like that. And there was a lot of claims even back in like Iraq and stuff of like weird stuff being seen in the air and things like that. And that was strange. So with some of the stuff being claimed in Ukraine, happening in the air over Ukraine, would not doubt it one bit. So,
during the pandemic, Jen and I were chilling on the roof of our apartment in the city. And all of a sudden from the horizon, it looked like from the water, honestly. It looked like these stars were coming out and then shooting off. And there was a bunch of them doing this. And it was like a fleet, right? And so I was like, what the hell? I actually got it on video. I think it still might be on the YouTube channel if you look for it. Type in UFOs or something like that. And it was crazy. And so I called the guys that were on duty at our firehouse, and I said, "You guys seen this at all?" And they go, "No, we haven't heard anything." I said, "Reach out to the cops, see if anyone's reported anything." We never found out anything about it. One person was saying, "Well, it was probably Starlink." No, I get it. Satellites go and they go and they go. They don't do crazy things like
no,
that.
they have a consistent flight path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, weird. And I see we got Jesse Mills. Actually, we're watching Star Wars, witnessing the birth of the Empire. Well, yeah, man. I mean, either the birth or the decline. It depends. It depends. I get what you're saying, though.
I mean, the atmosphere of that last speech old Brandon gave was pretty
Oh, did you see when
memed to shit.
And did you see when they took the Star Wars movie where Emperor Palpatine was giving his speech? I forget which one, and then they put
Yeah.
Biden. Oh, he looked like fucking. You know who he looked like? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh God, man. I mean,
and that's another thing, DJ. I wanted to ask you about. Have you heard any more about this pistol brace thing, man? Like, if somebody buys one of those things, are they going to be turned into a criminal or what?
So yeah, I mean the supposed pistol brace ruling shit went into effect last month. But as far as I've seen, there's been no enforcement on it or anything. Obviously there's going to be mass non-compliance because it is a commonly used accessory. And it is an accessory. It's a commonly used item. So I mean millions of people have those. There's no way that they can enforce and go after every single person for those. There's no way. So the quote unquote rulings went into effect, but they're not laws. They're not full on regulations. They're just interagency rulings that technically have no standing when it comes to the application on the public. Even with their silly criteria list and everything, which is floated around all over the place and people have talked about it ad nauseum. So it's I don't know what's going to come of that. But I know that there's going to be mass non-compliance with that, and rightfully so, because it's bullshit. So
yeah, no, it absolutely is. And I just heard in New Jersey today, so they as you guys know, the Supreme Court came out and said that the right to self-defense and the right to bear arms is kind of an absolute thing, and that states have to give out the concealed carry permit. So what did good old New Jersey do? They came out with a law that said that you can't carry inside your vehicle. And they have some kind of loophole that they did where this is some kind of domicile thing or something, but they're basically making it impossible for you to carry in that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even a license holding security guard in New Jersey got arrested and charged with felonies a while back.
I knew that guy.
Yeah. Because he had a firearm in his vehicle.
He was an armored car employee, Brinks or something like that. And it was his fault, honestly, because he was stupid. What he did was he had his 1911 in the glove box, and that wasn't even his duty weapon. And he shouldn't have had, there's no reason to have that in the glove box, not in that state, right? So they arrest him, and he's a felon now. He'll never own a gun again, and he'll never work in security again. But not that there's anything right about that. It's a tyrannical fucking place, and that's why I left. Right? That's why I literally fled for for my safety, and did. And but two sides of the coin. If you're living behind enemy lines, you better fucking blend in, right? And this is basic tradecraft 101. Don't carry a weapon on you when you don't have to. It's the surest way to get blown, right?
Yeah.
But on the same page, DJ, we are seeing even more divide in the states right now. So, like you said, the states that I live in, the state that you live in, people aren't going to comply with that shit, and the state won't comply with it either. But in the states that have fallen already, California, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, those places, Oregon now even, they're just going to fucking put anyone in jail that they possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. And I mean, people are fleeing those states in droves. At least people with half a brain are fleeing those states in droves. And the popular saying, like in Texas with Texans, is like, if you're going to come here from California, don't bring your politics with you. So
And the state I'm in now used to be very red. It's turning purple. It's turning purple. It's turning purple. We're
yeah,
getting afraid that it'll fall soon. We're going to have our governor's race coming up here very soon.
yep, we do too. Yeah.
Democrat elected. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm fearful for it. So we'll see.
A lot in the air. I mean, from what I can tell, I mean, even though my governor's a real piece of shit, I mean, he still understands the culture and the rights of the people up here, to what I can tell, and hasn't gone after firearms and stuff. Plus, both our states have have a lot in regards to the firearm industry. You know, a lot of companies that make firearms, some with large federal contracts and things like the DoD contracts and stuff in our states. And a lot of money subsequently goes to the government from those companies. So, you know, it's a catch-22 because they try and go after them. I mean, they're losing, not only are they losing jobs for the people, but they're losing some of their revenue and, you know, a lot of other things involved with just the rights of the people and everything else. So it is a double-edged sword for them. So, you know, our states, the governments in our states need to be walking on eggshells, rightfully so.
Yeah.
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 So,
Well,
let's see. Sorry, go ahead. I'll follow up if you have anything else.
I know DJ is, keeping his eye on the radar, so to speak, right now and seeing if there's anything else coming across his screen. I don't really have too much more that I'm looking at right now. I mean, we did discuss what's going on in Israel right now, which is a concern. We discussed a lot about the pipeline, which is one of the biggest things on my radar right now. We touched on, the economic situation, which is, of course, also a concern.
Yep.
And then the various geopolitical things going on across the world. There's a lot to keep track of. So, DJ, anything else, coming across your screen right now, or?
Two things here. I will, let me just go over them real quick. So, like I said earlier, I'll just go over this again in case people weren't here or whatever. And this is coming from the New American New American Magazine, and a couple of other sources, confirmed through FOIA requests and things like that. That TWA Flight 800 from back in the late 90s, if people remember that, was confirmed to have been shot down by the U.S. Navy, and now families of the victims are filing lawsuits. Everything's being submitted in court, FOIA requests, everything's official and confirmed in that regard. So just kind of covering that again real quick. That's a big whoopsie on the government's part there. The other big thing, let me see here. The other big thing, and this is something a little bit, in the interest of U.S. economy and politics and everything. Recently in Minneapolis, Minnesota, there was a large federal and local joint task force that busted a major scam, fraud, crime ring fronted by several Somali American citizens, with a large network of people ranging to countries like Turkey and such, where they stole over $250 million from the relief funds regarding children's nutrition and education funding. It was a major bust that put 40-something people under federal charges and are going to be going to federal prison, which Minnesota has one of the federal work camp prisons in it. But that was a huge bust lately that the federal government and the state of Minnesota have worked together on to bust. $250 million stolen from the federal government through those relief aid funds meant for children's nutrition and education programs. They've gotten 50 million of it back from seized assets and bank accounts and things, but another almost $200 million are still missing and likely to have been moved outside the United States to the countries of Turkey, Cyprus, Somalia, and like one or two other countries. That was a big thing, apart from what happened with this information coming out about TWA Flight 800. So, and then other than that, again, the BP refinery in Toledo, Ohio went up in flames. And there was one other major petrochemical facility, I think was it Nebraska or something? I can't remember, somewhere out there that just went up in flames, which is why the cost of certain plastics products have gone up in price. Yeah, so just some stuff like that going on. So
DJ, these are big deals, man, and these are things that other channels aren't currently talking about, and that's why I really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this, because we try to bring you breaking news and intelligence that look, it's not already out there. We don't want to harp on things that everyone's talking about. I mean, we touch on them, right? But so these things, some of what DJ is saying is not breaking news at this point, but it probably will break in the next couple of days and people will start talking about it. So way to go, DJ. I commend you. You do a great job every time with your research here. So
I do my best. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, there's gonna be a bunch more stuff coming out from all different places and stuff, and I mean, like we were saying earlier, everything's getting super spicy, so there's gonna be a lot to talk about in these every other week live streams. So
yeah, well said. It's and guys,
yeah, that's right, TMR. A Chinese spy, actually two things. A Chinese spy was just busted in Chicago.
Okay.
On espionage charges. I forget their name. And then also the first openly trans major in the U.S. Army who was in the medical corps, worked at Walter Reed, and then worked at Fort Bragg for a while under the Special Operations Medical Care Program. Because it's a guy, he and his wife were just busted by the FBI for trying to provide the medical record information of U.S. soldiers to Russia.
Wow.
So two major espionage busts lately, as well as some of these crime ring busts that have gone down. Yeah, well, I totally forgot about the Chinese spy one. Thank you for bringing that up, Tamar.
Yeah, thank you, man. Tamar's on point right now. Tamar's actually on fire tonight.
Yeah, it is good. Thank you, man. That's yeah, those are two big ones. So the ones with the Russia connection that were busted by the FBI, that was out on the East Coast, because the he/she was working at Walter Reed Medical Center at the time, and his wife, who is I believe a Russian or Belarusian expat, they thought they were talking to a person from the Russian consulate, but it was an undercover FBI agent.
Wow.
And yeah, so they got busted on that. So it's those are some pretty big ones that have happened just in the last 24, 48 hours as well. Yeah, big stuff. I forget what the Chinese spy was doing as far as their spy activities, Tamar. I don't remember. I'm not going to bother looking it up right now, but I do recall that happening. So I just can't remember what it was exactly regarding as far as the espionage.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's great. Your tax dollars at work, and for all of our talks, guys, don't forget there's a lot of good people working out there right now, keeping us safe. That's no BS. There's a lot of good people working out there to keep us safe.
To see some of these people in these federal agencies and like the U.S. Attorney's Office actually doing their job is kind of good to see,
Very good.
There's a lot that isn't good with a lot of them right now, but to see them doing that and actually going after bad people that are, committing fraud and spying and stuff, that's a huge thing. Oh, they were a defense contractor, Tamar. Oh, no shit.
Huh.
Well, I'm gonna have to look that up because I want to see what company they were working for.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know which company they're working for, but if I remember, but I want to know, because I mean that's my wheelhouse. So
yes, it certainly is.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, they were working at Great Lakes or something, weren't they? Was it Great Lakes, or were they working at the the federal building down there downtown. I can't remember. Yeah, no, that's fucking wild, man.
Well, DJ, keep us in the loop on that one, man. If you know,
Yeah.
this actually ties in nicely because guys, right now the Discord server is completely free for anyone who wants to come in here. Just simply the best thing to do would be either to send me an email or send us a DM on our Instagram channel. Go to Fighting Secrets Backup, right? Because they fucked our first one. Go to Fighting Secrets Backup is our Instagram channel. Send us a DM or an email, and we'll send you the invite because when DJ looks into this, he'll send it to me, and I'll post the article on our Discord server. And right now, it's completely free. At some point, it will become paid. You'll have to pay a membership fee, but you'll all be grandfathered in who joined originally.
Yeah.
And don't forget, guys, that we're going to be giving away an ounce of silver and an NBC approved and rated gas mask. That's going to be over the next coming week. Okay. And we might even throw in a third prize. So I want you to consider joining the channel. $3 a month is our base membership. Again, less than a cup of coffee. DJ, coffee. I don't know how you guys.
No, you say it your way. Say it your way. I love it.
No, it's not coffee. It's coffee. It's freaking coffee. Good about it. But we're gonna be. If you could do that, you could help support us, and if it's in your heart to do so, then it's very much appreciated. So if you want to do that, we are going to try to get back at you. Gas mask, a bar of silver here and there, sometimes a freaking cash prize. And we always are going to do that. And then obviously, go to fightingsecrets.com. You can find the travel safety book that DJ and I co-authored, whether you want the PDF version or the audiobook version or both. They're all available up on there. You can also learn World War II based combatives from the privacy of your own home. Yeah. And those courses are all at a discount price right now because we realize that people don't have as much money as they once did. So we're trying to hook you guys up.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough across the board. Now, do you have the Fairburn books in physical format?
We do. We have the Fairburn books, and we'll send it direct to your door. Now, some of the products that we had on GFS. Now, as you guys know, I fled the East Coast, and I'm now living on the West Coast, and our warehouse is back on the East Coast, and we don't have anyone manning it now. So some of the products are out of stock, but the Fairburn books are still in stock. We still have those. So yeah, and then if you guys want to order any T-shirts, swag, things like that, those are still very much in stock as well. So
I need one of those OSS shirts, man. I gotta. I'm gonna order one. Man,
next time we go and train somewhere, I'll bring you one.
That sounds good, man. Yeah, I've been looking for them.
Hey, man, those OSS shirts. Listen, guys, it's been a while since I wore one.
I like those.
The OSS logo. DJ loves it. We've got it on a T-shirt, and there's many things that we're in the process of working on here. To be honest with you guys, though, we are waiting till the economy improves to expand our inventory. Yeah. What we have left is what we have left. And then if you guys, if you guys want to do the online courses, that's why we're pushing those right now. Not only is it probably, realistically speaking, some of the best training you will ever get for the price, but it's also completely online. So I highly recommend that you take advantage while the prices are as low as they are.
Yep. And I mean, we've got the first evolution of the GFS fighting system. We've got that up. We did it in video audio format as much as in the physical manual format. And, so the system's up there to learn from. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. And yeah, we're going to keep doing giveaways. I mean, as far as like certain things like t-shirt printing and all that, yeah, the industry's hard right now, even on the music industry side, because I'm a musician too. It is not cheap to get shirts printed right now. It is, everything's backed up. Vinyl printers and pressers are backed up a year right now because of material supplies are not getting to them that quickly. Supply logistics are a huge problem right now. And just because of inflation and everything else, the cost has gone up on everything. So there are alternatives for people if they're not able to, pick up physical stuff or whatever. We've got it there digitally for people. So
that's the way of the future, man. Digital.
Yeah, I'm old school with it because I still collect like CDs and cassette tapes, but I'm not gonna let that scene die. But yeah, no, it's with a lot of things though. Yeah, it is. It's very rough right now, and even myself, I've got to be smart with my spending. I want this new gun or I want this new piece of kit, but I've got to be smart about staging out my finances So like, I need to buy this one down the line. I need to buy this one now or whatever, so totally get where a lot of people are coming from right now. It's not easy. So
You know,
hopefully
I
things,
literally went all over the city yesterday. I was out all day, okay, looking for best prices on 9mm ammunition.
yeah.
You know, the thing is though, I found an amazing deal, but I had to literally go to like 5 different places. And I think honestly, the amount of money I must have burned in gas, probably I would have been better off just buying it at $15 a box. But hey, penny here, penny there, right? I know what you're
Yeah.
saying, Deej. It's you
That's
got to find the
that's
best everywhere.
yeah. As far as ammo goes, that's where some of the online retailers are really stepping up the game because there's some great deals online and they just ship it to you. But again,
Yeah.
shipping logistics right now that
Shipping.
it's going to take a while
That's
for
the
it to
thing.
get to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some good deals online. I found online deals are better than the in-store gun store deals right now in large.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, anyways, Deej, I got to run, man. But
Okay.
thank you for coming on, and we will see you in the next global intelligence briefing for sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It was great talking to you, brother. And good seeing and talking to everybody in the chat again. And thanks for, it looks like we might have a couple of newcomers. So thanks for coming in. And yeah, freaking
Yeah,
we'll get,
let's just shout some of these guys out here. I see SSK, and dude, thank you for the discussion, man. Like, I didn't really get into prophecy like here with you, but I would like to in the future, and that was a good take that you have on it. And then Jesse Mills, man, welcome in. I think I've seen you once or twice before, I'm not sure, but for all of you new guys, welcome. And all of our returning veterans over here, thanks for your service. So
Cue Ball, Tamar, Tommy Gun, Terminator.
good to see everybody.
I am Apocalypse, like everyone. Yeah, freaking great seeing you all. So freaking till the next one.
Till the next one, guys, please remember that you were your first and last line of defense. And DJ,
Stay adaptive and